What's going on, YouTubers? This is Buddy coming at you, another quick video on a 20-gallon long tank build. Now in this video what I wanted to talk to you about is what I was doing inside this aquarium for flow, and go over now basically what I'm doing inside of here for flow right now is just temporary. I'm waiting for my WP10 to come in the mail, and that's going to be my permanent solution, and I'll talk to you about what I'm going to do permanently. But temporarily, if I was going to keep this is adequate to keep it like this permanently. But I am waiting for the WP10 to come in because I do like that more wave motion. So when that comes in, I'll show you guys that in an updated video. But right now, what I'm doing for flow inside this aquarium and what I could use as a permanent measure is what I have here. So let's go over the first, the power heads here. Now I will give you the total gallons per hour in the end, including the return pump. As of right now, we're just talking about what's inside the main display tank. Now right here I have a 250 gallon per hour power head back here, blowing behind the rocks. And right here I have a 200 gallon per hour power head coming across the top of the water here. Now I really like to give that good water agitation up here for one main reason. It ensures that I don't get that oily buildup that sometimes you can get if you have stilled water at the top of your marine aquarium. And that can prevent good oxygen and gas exchange. And this is another reason why surface skimming is very important when you have a marine aquarium, having that good surface skimming. Now I like to have an overflow box where it comes all the way down, so it has different slots so it can suck in tiny particles from the bottom all the way to the top. But this idea that just the surface skimming is very effective and it works. It does work out really well. So you can have a successful aquarium like that. I'm not saying you can't. I just like the overflow box. Even though they're big, bulky, and ugly, I like them because it has the slots from the bottom all the way to the top. So with that being said, I like to have the power head here hitting the top of the water to break up the top of the water to ensure that I have good gas and oxygen exchange. And with the surface skimming here, it ensures that I have good gas and oxygen exchange at the top. Now if you get that oily buildup at the top of your aquarium because you do not have good water movement and surface skimming at the top of your aquarium, that could have detrimental effects on your reef. So you want to ensure that you do have good water movement at the top of the aquarium, especially if you don't have overflow box or something skimming the top of the water. Definitely want to make sure you have a power head breaking the surface of the water at the top. So right now with those two power heads running inside here, it gives me about 22 and a half times turnover rate inside this aquarium. I like to shoot for that 20 times turnover rate inside the aquarium. Now I'm going to discuss everything in the tie it all together here in the end as far as how everything works. Now with the return pump, it's actually a 390 gallon per hour return pump. Now why did I buy such a big return pump for this 20 gallon long aquarium? Because that's way too powerful, obviously. The main two reasons why I did that was because when I did the math for the height of this stand with the tank, so the head pressure that this pump would have, plus the 4 90-degree elbows from the PVC plumbing that I have installed on this aquarium, that return pump is reduced down to 220 gallons per hour. So basically that gives me 11 times turnover rate through the sump, which is one time more than I would like. I really like to shoot for that 10 times turnover rate. Anywhere between 5 to 6 times turnover rate through your sump is really good. I like to stay on the higher end, 10 times turnover rate, because I do shoot for mixed reefs, and I like to have that little bit more water movement inside the aquarium. Now 10 times turnover rate still ensures that the water is not flowing through there like a raging river, and still gives my mechanical filtration inside my sump adequate time to polish the water, like my protein skimmer, my filter media, and things like that. Adequate time to really polish off the water. Now I like to shoot for that 20 times turnover rate inside the aquarium to ensure that I have good water movement inside the aquarium, because all my biological filtration is happening right here on the live rock and within the live sand bed. So I really like to shoot for that. All my denitrifying bacteria is on my live rock. I don't have any bio balls or anything down there that holds in my sump that holds any denitrifying bacteria. So I rely on all my biological filtration right here on the live rock and the live sand. So you want to ensure that you have good open rock work like this, so the water can flow in and around the rock properly, so you're really utilizing your live rock correctly. When your live rock is packed in there tightly and you have inadequate water movement inside the aquarium, you're not getting that good biological and denitrifying bacteria. You're not utilizing your live rock correctly with all that, your live rock is holding all your denitrifying bacteria, which is breaking down harmful ammonia into nitrites, into less harmful nitrates. So we really want to make sure we're utilizing our biological filtration, which is primarily our live rock. Unless you have a trickle filter, that would be a different scenario. But I don't have one on this aquarium. So with the return pump and these power heads, if they're on together, I'm actually at 33.5 times turnover rate inside this aquarium, which is a lot. Okay, so how do I utilize both of these power heads plus this return pump and still stay within that 20 times turnover rate? Well, I'll show you. Basically, how I do that is by this Wavemaker controller right here. Now, basically what happens is this Wavemaker controller, it's a Corellia, high-door Corellia, ensures that those two power heads are not on at the same time. Every minute they switch, they alternate. So that brings me down to about that 22.5 times turnover rate inside the aquarium. Now if I had them both on together, that's a lot of flow, and it'd actually be too much flow inside the aquarium. So by me alternating these, I'm changing the current inside the aquarium, which is allowing me to have more of that kind of dishwasher movement. It's changing the flow inside the aquarium every minute. So that really ensures that I'm getting good water movement inside the aquarium, ensuring I don't really have any dead spots, and it's allowing me to maintain that slightly over 20 times turnover rate, and it's giving me that changing flow inside the aquarium. So what happens is this power head is on with the return pump. Return pump's on all the time. So this one flows behind the rocks and flushes everything out behind the rocks, and then circles back around. This one comes across the top of the main display tank and hits here and flushes back. So it's really, really cool because it gives me that changing flow in the aquarium, back and forth kind of motion, and it ensures that I don't have any dead spots. Just because you have strong water movement inside the aquarium, if it's the same exact way all the time, you still can get detritus to settle in spots, because if you have, say you have power heads blasting this way and blasting this way, they intersect in the middle, you still may get dead spots here and there where detritus can still settle or get stuck in the holes of the rocks. So having the water kind of change, go one way and then go back the other way, it's really giving the water's flushing out the rocks. So that's what's really kind of going on. It's giving the power heads a chance to flush out each side of the rocks as it comes back and forth. And it gives the corals a chance it gives them a break. They're not being blasted by the flow the same exact way all the time. So I really like that changing motion inside the aquarium. So anytime I can automate the power heads, I do it. I really think that's very important, especially with all the Wavemaker controllers on the market now that are very inexpensive. It would be silly not to incorporate that in your build. Now you don't have to, by no means. You can strategically place low flow power heads all over the aquarium to give you that kind of more dishwasher motion. But when you take in the account for the price of all these power heads, you really would save yourself money by buying a Wavemaker controller and just running, two medium-sized power heads instead of running 4 lower flow power heads inside this aquarium to really give me that dishwasher kind of motion and kind of change the flow in the aquarium. Now, I don't believe in a linear flow, which is a one-way flow. I don't believe in that, and I would never set up an aquarium where I have all power heads on one side of the aquarium. I really would never do that. I really feel like if anything, put one on each side, have them blow and intersect in the middle. That'll kind of give you that kind of, as the water hits each other, that'll kind of burst out, and that'll still give you that kind of somewhat of a dishwasher kind of motion in there. If anything, I would never stick with a linear flow, a one-way flow. If you've ever been to the ocean, you'll feel a wave push you one way and then 2 seconds later kind of pull you back. It kind of gives you that rocking motion. It'll push you one way and then pull you back. So I really want to try as best as I can to emulate that kind of flow inside the aquarium, and that's where having these power heads come on and off every minute, I feel like it is the best solution as far as emulating that. Now, getting the WP10 in the mail, which actually does do the waves, is going to be the best solution. Any kind of power head that can give you those waves, like a WP40 or anything like that, the Ecotech Marine power heads or the Jabo power heads or any type of power head that actually does do the waves, I feel is the best solution as far as creating good water movement in the aquarium. It's really the more natural way. That's what they deal with in the ocean, even though depending at the different depths of the ocean, the flow does kind of change depending on the depths. But we're doing corals, which are generally more in the 20 feet deep range and higher. We're not really looking to be really down deep in the ocean. We're trying to emulate that first 20, maybe 30 feet deep, where we're getting that kind of wave action, sort of speak here. So I like to emulate that as much as possible, kind of like a shallow reef, so to speak. So having that change in motion really flushes out the rocks and gives me that chance to really flush everything out and ensures I don't have any dead spots. Ensure that I'm getting good, adequate water movement inside the aquarium, and that's why I shoot, or through the in and around the live rock, and that is why I shoot for that 20 times turnover rate. If it's a little bit more than that, don't stress too much. Don't worry about it. I'm not saying, I think 30, unless you have a large corals inside the aquarium that are blocking some of the flow, then yes, you'd want to upgrade to more flow to make sure you're not getting dead spots, especially if you have large SPS corals. But like in my aquarium downstairs, as the corals are starting to grow, I have upgraded the flow, so now I'm at about 33 times turnover rate, because the corals are getting bigger, and it is restricting some of the flow. So I have upgraded to a little bit more flow. Now, I've heard of people going up to 40 and 50 times turnover rate inside their aquariums, but these are large, 500-gallon systems that have corals, as big as my arm. I mean, massive SPS corals, where they need to have this strong flow because these corals are restricting a lot of the water movement inside the aquarium. So at the end of the day, even though their power heads and return pumps are equaling up to 50 times turnover rate, they're not really getting that amount of movement through the aquarium because they have large corals obstructing the flow. So you have to understand that and take that into consideration. Alright guys, so I just wanted to give you an update on what I'm doing for flow in here. Now when I get the Jabo WP10 in here, what I will have is just a Jabo WP10 on this wall here, and I will have my return pump, and then I will have just that single power head blowing a jet of water behind the rocks to ensure I don't have any detritus building up back there and I don't have any dead spots behind the rocks. So I always like to incorporate a power head blowing behind the rock work. I think that's extremely important to do that. So anytime you can incorporate that in your build, I think it's something you should consider. And I'll give you a close-up of some of the corals I've added. I don't know if this was in my last video, but I added this guy here. I added some more green star polyps. I added the frog spawn. I'm not sure if I showed you guys that or not. Added the toadstool, which isn't open right now. Pulsating zinnias in the back to have some mushrooms on there. I added some more zoas here. It's hard to pick up on camera. Added some more zoas there. A little frag of zoas up there. And that's about it right now, guys. So this is a full shot of the system. It's coming along quite nicely. I couldn't be any happier right now. And I'll give you guys some updates as I get more corals in here. And I'm really looking to add my second fish. I haven't done it yet. He's in quarantine right now. I'm actually going to be taking him out of quarantine probably within the next few days here. I think he's been in there 3 weeks or 2.5 weeks. I have to check on my calendar downstairs. Either 2.5 weeks or 3 weeks. So in another week I'll be taking him out. And while he's in quarantine, first thing I did do was give him a fish bath. They sell this stuff that's called a fish bath. I'll just touch on this really fast. I gave him a quick fish bath, put him in the quarantine tank, monitored him for a week, and then I did treat him with some medication just to ensure they didn't have any parasites on him. I treated with that for another week, just a week, just treated to ensure that there was nothing. Even though I didn't see anything, the fish looked healthy and everything like that. I just did it as a precautionary measure. It's something that I do in quarantine. Quarantine just gives you a chance to observe the fish, give the fish a chance to get used to you, used to feeding your foods, and if he does have an outbreak, it's easier to treat him in a quarantine tank, and it doesn't affect the main display tank because it's already in the quarantine tank. But me, I like to give him a fish bath before I put him in there, and then I like to treat him the second week they're in there for 1 whole week, and then I cut back the treatment altogether and monitor him. Keep feeding them a good, healthy, balanced diet to ensure that they have a good, strong immune system, and that they're taking to the foods really good, and really keep a good close eye on them. Alright guys, this is Buddy coming at you, so probably within the next video, depending on whether it's been 2.5 or 3 weeks or not, he'll probably be in the next video. Alright guys, this is Buddy signing out. Happy reefing.